What's up, everybody? I just wanted to go over a monk build that I've been working on. It's based around the Chaos Inoculation. If you're not familiar with the Chaos Inoculation, don't worry, we'll get into it. But basically, it puts you at 1 HP. However, it makes you immune to all chaos damage. That's fantastic, as straight up chaos damage and poison damage you will be immune to. All right, let's get into the passive skill tree real quick. So I'm an Invoker Monk, and basically you want to take anything that's going to give you Energy Shield and Evasion. Okay, Energy Shield and Evasion, and I'll show you my actual build later and my character sheet. But for now, just know it's a pretty straightforward. We're going to use Electrocute as our main focus. I'm sure you can use Freeze as your main focus. But basically it's just raw damage and anything that has to do with evasion and energy shield. Okay, obviously we come up here and we pick up the power within to grant us one more power charge, and that's going to give us the power charges that we need to, continue our damage and machine gunning. We use resonance, and that's of course to convert the frenzy charges to power charges, and we use combat frenzy in order to gain the frenzy charges, which in turn converts to power charges. But here's the big one. So we're going to come down here. We're going to grab all the damage. We're going to grab some crit, some more damage, some mana leech. Definitely some mana leech if you're having mana problems. But the idea here is still to grab all the energy shield and evasion that you can. And then you're going to come over here and you're going to grab Chaos Inoculation. Maximum life becomes 1, immune to chaos damage. Okay, now that's kind of scary and kind of tricky, but in combination of what we're going to use, we're also going to use Eternal Youth. Life recharges instead of energy shield, and life recovery from flash applies to the energy shield instead. So basically your energy shield now becomes your life, and you can use your life flask in order to obviously fluctuate your life. Now we're going to use a couple of skills, some buffs that allow us to continue to keep that energy shield up. All right, so let's go into the character sheet. One thing to note is my evasion is super high, right? And because we're using and protect me from harm, physical damage reduction from armor is based on your combined armor and evasion rating. But because your evasion rating is through the roof, you shouldn't have any problems with that. So here my evasion rating is 82, which puts my armor at 75, which is fantastic. Of course, my resists are all at 75 or greater, and my chaos doesn't really matter because we're immune to it. My spirit right now, based on my buffs and the different things that I have, allows me to have 284. My mana's 1098. And of course, the big one for this build is your energy shield, which is 3471. Trying to get that up to about 4,000, but we'll work with it. Let's go over here and look at our gear. Basically I'm on a budget. So, I got a basic staff, it's a little bit, it's okay. Again, I went for max evasion and energy shield, same thing, evasion rating. Of course I always went with a little bit of rarity so I can try to get more of those, so I can get off of the low budget. However, at the moment, this is what we're stuck with. Of course, your life recovery and all that stuff for the flask is good, but it doesn't matter. Chaos damage or resistance doesn't matter. But I did go with Katoko's current jewel gloves, and the reason for this is to get my hits to contribute to the electrocution buildup. You don't need these. There are abilities or support gems that can help you gain that electrocution buildup. However, I wanted to substitute that for damage and other support gems, so I went ahead and used the gloves instead. Okay, let's get into the skills. So for the skills, quarter staves, of course, we don't have anything going on there. We don't need it. I use elemental expression just for a little bit of extra damage. This doesn't really give us a whole lot, but it gives us enough to pacify some of the damage that we're missing because we went more evasion and energy. I provide Ghost Dance. Ghost Dance, if you're not familiar with Ghost Dance, every 3.2 second duration between gaining Ghost Shrouds, When hit, you consume Ghost Shroud and recover energy shield equal to 5% of your evasion. Again, evasion was key here. Inside Ghost Shroud, we have 30% increased recovery from Life Flask, so that gives us even more recovery from that Life Flask. Supported skills have 30% less skill affection duration. Okay, so basically in between each Ghost Shroud, we should be popping more Ghost Shrouds in between. Herald of Thunder, of course, Herald of Thunder is your standard more electrocute and shock. I went with supported skill has 100% more chance to crit, and that's because earlier we're doing more damage based off of if we critted recently. Supported skills have 40% more area of effect. Supported skills deal 35% more attack damage to enemies that are further than 7 meters from you, and we will be hitting minions out that far. We're going to leech some mana from those attacks. And of course, Lightning Mastery, and Lightning Mastery just gives us a +1 skill to this particular Herald. Not that that's a big deal, but it kind of helps. We are using Blink, and the reason why we're using Blink is you kind of get in those tough situations. If you get into that oh shit situation, you can get out of it super fast. So currently we're right around 4 seconds to be able to use each individual Blink. However, we use Second Wind, which gives us another 50% less cooldown recovery rate, right? So that's not really good or ideal, but it lets us do it twice, right? So we essentially went from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. However, we then use the supported skill, has a 30% cooldown recovery rate, right? So now we're taking it down to 4.5, 5 seconds, right? So every 4.5, 5 seconds, you'll have 2 charges. You can blink twice. Let's go down to Grim Feast. Grim Feast, basically, Grim Feast recovers 102 energy shield, 50% chance to spawn every time that you kill a minion. Now, this is important because this constantly keeps your charges up. It constantly keeps you, basically, since your energy shield is now your health, you're constantly gaining health. On top of that, it overflows. It overflows, so now you can actually have twice of your HP. Regenerate 1 life per second while the supported skill is active. I honestly don't know if this actually helps the recharge rate on, if it actually affects this, because it doesn't specifically say that my energy shield is now my life. So, but I have it on there just in case it works. I don't know if it works or not. 30% increased mana regeneration while the skill is supported. Of course, you want that extra mana. Combat Frenzy, we talked about Combat Frenzy. We're using that in conjunction with Resonance. And of course, we're using Profusion with that. Supported skills have 50% chance to grant an additional charge. Of course, Tempest Bell. I went in a little different direction with Tempest Bell. Every 5th use of the supported attacks causes 500% more buildup. This is good for stuns. Supported skill has 100% chance to blind enemies. Obviously, if I'm using the bell, I'm right up next to somebody, so I don't want them hitting me. And hits with supported skills cause 50% more stun buildup. Again, just more stun buildup. And we're using super critical. Supported skills have 100% increased critical damage bonus, which is fantastic. Now, we probably use this somewhere else, but hey, I usually use Tempest Bell when we're fighting bosses. The more damage I can get on the boss, the quicker I can kill it, the better. And then, of course, we're using Culling Strike. Culling Strike, if you're not familiar with the Culling Strike, basically you execute enemies at different percentages of their health. Regular minions, 30%. Rare minions, 10%. And unique, 5%. Down here to Tempest Flurry. I'm using your average Tempest Flurry build here. It's very simple. More attack speed, elemental damage. We electrocute primed enemies. And again, this goes in conjunction with the gloves that we have. There's another skill there, or there's another support gem that you can use to build up that electrocute, so you don't need the gloves. However, it just saves me a spot here that I can use something else. Supported attack gains 25 extra lightning damage. We're not using cold or fire, so it doesn't matter. And supported skills have 40% less cost. Going down to charge staff. Supported skills have 100% more chance of shock. We want shocked minions out there to do extra damage. Shocking hits from supported skills have 50% chance to also shock enemies around them, which is great. We want to shock those and those around them. Attacks gain 35 extra lightning damage for 3 seconds on killing shocked enemies. This is why we want everybody shocked, right? We want more damage. Supported skills have 40% more skill effect duration. We just want the charge staff buff to last longer. And then supported skills penetrate 30% lightning resistance. This is good, obviously, because we're just a full lightning build. Just as a utility, we could use anything here. It doesn't matter. We could have another buff. In my particular circumstance, I use Gathering Storm. It does a lot of damage. I think it's overlooked, but it does a lot of damage. Basically, you charge up, fly forward through mobs, and just destroy them. All right, let's go over some use cases for the setup. First, we're going to go over just the damage. As you can see, it has pretty good wave clear. Now take a look down here at the shield where it says 3471. That's my base maximum energy shield. My 4602 is from the Grim Feast when I'm actually harvesting those nodes off the ground, and you'll see them here shortly. So you see these little hovery things? If you run over those, I'll gain energy shield up to a maximum of double of what my current maximum. So as I'm fighting, I run over them, and as you can see, my shield is raising over here. 4498, 4600. And to give you an idea of how quickly this clears, now notice up here the buff that keeps popping off. That's my shroud. That'll keep popping off and giving me that extra energy shield, and it'll keep it going. If my energy shield ever gets too low and I can't keep it going, that's when I'll go ahead and pop a heal. But I'll see how long this will maintain. And my energy shroud just keeps it going. And let's just see, I feel like I'm getting a little too low. I'll pop a heal. All right, everybody, pretty straightforward. It's just off meta build. I like it. It's fun. Maybe there's something else that we can do with it. I don't know. Let me know if there's something that put in there to make, give me more damage, give me more energy shield, something. But yeah, let's play around with it and have some fun. I appreciate everybody watching. Take it easy.